Paris, city of lights, love, and skeletons. Now, I've heard of people going on vacation to see mountains, beaches, maybe even a water park or two. But Paris, they got the Eiffel Tower, sure. Fancy food, I guess. But the big draw for some people? Going underground to look at a bunch of bones, yep, you heard me right. Skeletons, skulls stacked up like firewood. Forget about Paris being the city of love. Down here, it's the city of skulls. Romantic, right? Before we venture too far into the abyss, don't forget to subscribe to Screamville. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more ghostly tales, haunted hotspots, and spooky legends. And hey, drop a comment below. Tell us if you dare to visit the catacombs, or if you'd rather just hang out in the gift shop. Come on, let's get dead serious about this journey. Let's get started. There's a little something fascinating about a place that's both creepy and historical. It's like finding out your grandma was a moonshiner. A little bit scary, a little bit cool, and a whole lot of interesting. Plus, think of the stories you could tell afterwards. Y'all ain't gonna believe this, but I went to Paris and saw millions of bones. I bet those bones got stories too. Imagine all the people down there just waiting for someone to come along and ask them about the good old days. Think they get tired of seeing tourists in those funny hats? Do they ever try to spook them? Or maybe they just want to know what's for dinner. Hey buddy, any chance you brought down a baguette? See, that's the thing about spooky places. They make you think. They make you wonder about the people who were there before you and the stories they could tell. Paris didn't always handle its dead with the je ne sais quoi you'd expect from the City of Lights. In the early days, burials were kept to the outskirts of the Roman-era left bank. But when the Western Roman Empire collapsed in the 5th century, along with any sense of organization, the Frankish invasions left the area in ruins. Parisians decided to abandon ship and relocate to the marshy right bank. Because who wouldn't want to trade high ground for soggy feet? By the 4th century, the first settlements popped up around Saint Etienne Church, and from the 10th century onward, the right bank grew faster than a baguette in a bakery oven. Instead of sticking to the usual bury the dead far away from the living rule, Parisians thought, why not bring the party closer to home? One of the main burial grounds was Saints Innocents Cemetery, which became Paris's top real estate for the dearly departed by the 12th century. It was so central, it even had the Les Halles marketplace as its neighbor, because nothing says fresh produce like a cemetery next door. Saints Innocents got so packed with bodies that they had to start exhuming the long dead, stacking their bones in charnier galleries built into the cemetery walls. By the 18th century, this graveyard wasn't just full, it was overflowing. Picture a 2-meter-high mound of centuries-old remains mixed with leftovers from the local hospital and morgue. Let's just say the city wasn't exactly winning any sanitation awards. In classic Parisian fashion, a series of half-hearted decrees attempted to limit the use of overcrowded cemeteries, but ultimately achieved, well, très peu, very little. By the late 18th century, someone finally had the bright idea to shut down all parish cemeteries within the city and replace them with large burial grounds on the outskirts. Enter the Paris Catacombs, a solution that's equal parts genius and nightmare fuel. The catacombs started with a practical twist. Paris's left bank sits on a treasure trove of Lutetia limestone, a rock so beloved it practically built the city. Unfortunately, the miners weren't exactly following OSHA guidelines back in the day. They dug wells down to the deposits, tunneled horizontally until they ran out of stone, and then abandoned the mines, leaving a Swiss cheese-like network beneath the city. Fast forward to 1774, when a house on the aptly named Rue d'Enfer, Hell Street, dramatically collapsed into an old mine shaft. King Louis XVI, probably muttering something about the crumbling city under his feet, established a commission to fix the mess, which included reinforcing the mines and turning them into underground inspection tunnels. Meanwhile, Saints Innocents Cemetery was so jam-packed that its walls started collapsing, quite literally, onto neighboring properties. Clearly, something had to give, so city officials hatched a macabre plan. Move the overcrowded dead into those reinforced mine tunnels. Voila! The underground ossuary was born. Beginning in 1786, black-draped wagons carried millions of exhumed skeletons on nightly journeys from the overflowing cemeteries to their new subterranean home. Talk about rush-hour traffic you don't want to be stuck behind. Among the relocated remains were notable cemeteries, like Saints Innocents, Madeleine Cemetery, and even graves of French Revolution victims. The catacombs also doubled as a quirky museum for headstones, sculptures, and artifacts from the exhumed burial sites. So if you ever visit, remember, you're not just walking through a tourist attraction, you're strolling through a carefully curated, bone-filled history exhibit. Bon voyage. In their early days, the catacombs were less spooky tourist hotspot and more bone chaos central. That is, until Louis-Étienne Héricart de Thury, director of the Paris Mine Inspection Service, decided the skeletons deserved a glow-up. Starting in 1810, he took disorganized piles of bones and gave them a Pinterest-worthy makeover, stacking skulls, femurs, and tibias into eerie yet strangely artistic patterns. He even scavenged cemetery decorations, some of which had mysteriously vanished during the Revolution. Coincidence? Probably not. To spruce up the place. And because no underground mausoleum is complete without a touch of flair, he added ominous warning inscriptions, a mineral display room, and a collection of skeletal deformities. Think of it as a 19th century art exhibit, but for bones. Fast forward to modern times, and the catacombs continue to deliver jaw-dropping stories, sometimes literally. During World War II, the French resistance used the tunnels as a secret HQ, while the Nazis set up an underground bunker nearby, making it one awkward subterranean neighborhood. Then, in 2004, police stumbled upon an underground movie theater complete with a screen, film noir classics, a bar, and even a restaurant. The group responsible, Les Jeunes, basically turned the catacombs into the most exclusive dinner and a movie spot in Paris. Hollywood couldn't resist either. As Above, So Below became the first movie filmed in the catacombs with government permission, though they did drag in a piano and a car just to set them on fire. Meanwhile, Airbnb offered daring guests the chance to stay overnight in 2015 as part of a €350,000 publicity stunt. And let's not forget the wine thieves of 2017, who tunneled through the catacombs to steal over €250,000 worth of vino. Apparently, even skeletons know a good Bordeaux when they see one. Officially, the catacombs of Paris have only claimed one victim, Philibert Aspert, a doorkeeper for the Val-de-Grâce hospital. In 1793, Aspert wandered into the catacombs, presumably to explore, but lost his light source and tragically never found his way out. When his body was discovered in 1804, 11 years later, it was just a few meters from a staircase that could have saved him. Talk about bad luck. His identity was confirmed thanks to his hospital keyring and the buttons on his jacket, making him the unfortunate poster child for always bring a spare flashlight. Above the entrance to the catacombs, a sign warns visitors, Arrête, c'est ici l'Empire de la Mort. Stop, the Empire of Death lies here. Clearly this didn't scare off early thrill-seekers, as privileged Parisians, including the Count of Artois, later Charles IX, began visiting as early as 1787. After renovations in the early 19th century, the catacombs officially became a public curiosity, though access was tightly controlled. The rules fluctuated wildly over the years, ranging from a few annual visits by appointment to a veritable catacomb free-for-all during the 1878 and 1889 World's Fairs. Even church opposition couldn't keep people away for long. By the 20th century, regular visits were the norm, until a vandalism incident in September 2009 closed the site temporarily. But don't worry, the catacombs reopened just 3 months later, ready for more curious and hopefully respectful tourists. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the site implemented new rules, reopening on June 16, 2020. Visitors were required to wear masks at first, but by now you're free to stroll among the bones, mask-free. Just don't forget your flashlight. The catacombs may be full of bones, but they don't have much backbone when it comes to supporting modern architecture. Sitting directly under the Paris streets, these tunnels make it impossible to build large foundations, and when they've been pushed too far, they've retaliated by caving in and taking buildings with them. Thanks to this subterranean game of Jenga, you won't find many skyscrapers in the area, just a cityscape that's as grounded as the skeletons below. Now, I don't know about you, but when I think of a cemetery, I picture tombstones, flowers, maybe a mourning angel or two. Not the Paris catacombs. Down there, it's just bones. Bones as far as the eye can see. Skulls stacked in neat rows, leg bones piled high like cordwood. It's enough to give you nightmares. They say there's over 6 million skeletons down there. 6 million. That's more people than in the entire state of Arkansas. And they're all just arranged, like somebody played a giant game of Tetris with human remains. It's both fascinating and a little bit unsettling, like watching a train wreck in slow motion. You know it's bad, but you just can't look away. Now, when you got millions of souls resting in one place, you bound to get a few restless spirits. At least, that's what the stories say. People have been whispering about strange goings-on in the catacombs for centuries. Lights flicker in the darkness. Shadows dance at the edge of your vision. And every now and then, you might just hear a faint whisper, a sigh, a bone-chilling moan echoing through the tunnels. Some people say it's just the wind whistling through the tunnels. Others, they claim it's the spirits of the departed, unable to find peace in their final resting place. Who knows the truth? Now, every good haunted house needs a good ghost story, right? And the catacombs? They got enough to fill a book. One famous tale is the gatekeeper. He watched over 6 million skeletons. Legend says he went mad, talking to the bones. His ghost still wanders, lantern swinging, laughter echoing. True or not, if you hear a voice in the catacombs, best not to answer. Now, the gatekeeper isn't the only ghost story floating around the catacombs. Over the years, folks have reported all sorts of strange and spooky happenings down there. Cold spots, unexplained noises, even the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. And listen, when you're surrounded by millions of skeletons, it's hard not to let your imagination run wild. Some people, they claim to have seen apparitions, shadowy figures flitting through the tunnels. Others, they hear whispers and moans, the voices of the departed still lingering in the darkness. And then there's the stories of people getting lost, wandering for hours in the labyrinthine passages, only to be found days later, disoriented and terrified. Whatever it is, it's enough to send shivers down your spine and maybe make you double-check your flashlight batteries. The ghost of Philibert Aspert is said to roam the underground tunnels. Legend has it that his spirit lingers, forever seeking the staircase he was just meters away from when he perished. Visitors have reported hearing faint whispers or the jingling of keys, thought to be Philibert's ghost. Visitors and explorers have reported hearing disembodied voices calling out their names, even when they are alone in the tunnels. Some claim these voices lure people deeper into the labyrinth, leading them to get lost. With 6 million souls crammed into such a small space, it's believed that some spirits might still be trying to make their presence known, or perhaps guiding lost wanderers toward eternal rest, or deeper into confusion. Tourists and workers alike have reported hearing footsteps echoing behind them, only to turn around and find no one there. These mysterious steps often seem to follow visitors through the dark corridors. Many believe the footsteps belong to the spirits of those who were moved from their original resting places, disturbed by the relocation to the catacombs. One of the more peculiar tales involves a spectral black cat that is said to appear deep within the catacombs. Those who encounter it report feelings of impending doom or misfortune. Black cats are often associated with superstition and bad luck, and in the gloomy catacombs, this feline phantom may be a guardian or a grim omen. Urban legends tell of explorers and daredevils who entered the catacombs for adventure, only to vanish without a trace. Their spirits are said to haunt the tunnels, appearing as shadowy figures or creating unsettling sounds. The disorienting maze of the catacombs, coupled with the natural fear of becoming lost, has likely fueled these stories. The sheer number of bones around doesn't help with the vibe. Some visitors claim to hear faint laughter echoing through the tunnels, which grows louder as they proceed, only to stop abruptly when they reach certain areas. The laughter is often attributed to spirits who delight in tricking or mocking those who dare to enter their domain. It may also stem from the macabre history of how the bones were organized in decorative patterns, almost playfully mocking death. Dark, fleeting figures have been spotted moving just out of sight in the dimly lit passageways. These shadows are often described as human-shaped but eerily distorted. Many believe these are the spirits of those who died violently or tragically in Paris, their restless energies now trapped in the catacombs. Visitors have reported sudden drops in temperature, inexplicable feelings of dread, and even being touched or pushed by unseen forces while exploring the catacombs. With such a concentration of human remains, the catacombs are believed to be a hot spot for residual energy and hauntings. The disturbing process of disinterment and relocation might also contribute to the unrest. A long-standing legend warns that anyone who disrespects the catacombs or disturbs the bones will be cursed. Some believe this explains accidents and misfortunes that have befallen those who pilfer artifacts or act disrespectfully during visits. Ancient superstitions about burial grounds and the violation of sacred spaces add weight to this chilling warning. The catacombs' eerie past, combined with tales of death, loss, and chaos during their construction, contributes to their haunted reputation. The underground atmosphere, claustrophobic, dark, and quiet, plays tricks on the mind, making visitors more prone to sensing the supernatural. These ghost stories, coupled with the haunting ambience of the catacombs, make them a magnet for thrill seekers and paranormal enthusiasts worldwide. Just remember, the dead may rest there, but they certainly don't sleep. You might think a place full of dead people wouldn't be a top tourist destination, but people line up for this stuff. They want that adrenaline rush, that shiver down their spine. And nothing says spine-chilling like miles of underground tunnels lined with human bones. They got guided tours now, all official-like. Can't have people running for the exit before they get to the gift shop, right? And that, my fearless explorers, brings us to the end of our deep dive into the eerie, bone-chilling world of the Paris catacombs. We've uncovered tales of wandering spirits, disembodied whispers, and one very judgmental ghost cat. But here's the real question. If you had the chance, would you choose to be laid to rest in the catacombs? Think about it. 6 million eternal neighbors, and a prime spot for future ghost stories. Sounds like a VIP afterlife club, doesn't it? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you've actually braved the catacombs and lived to tell the tale, we need to hear about it. Did you feel a cold hand on your shoulder? Did Philibert Aspert whisper directions to the exit, or did you just get lost and discover that even your GPS was scared to work down there? Share your spookiest catacombs experience. We're all dying to know, pun absolutely intended. Before you go, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our next terrifying tale. Give this video a like if you're as intrigued by the undead as we are, and remember, in life or in death, this channel is the place to be. Until next time, stay curious and stay spooky.